Former U.S. Ambassador to Saudi Arabia, currently diplomat in residence at Southern Methodist University. Robert Jordan, he's also the author of the book, Desert Diplomat. Great to have you with us, Ambassador. A number of things to talk about here tonight. But first of all, the President's 7.5-minute appearance at the Pentagon using top officials as props. I mean, that's pretty shaky stuff, isn't it?
It was shaky. I wonder if he was double parked outside while he held the press conference. It reminds you almost of the comical nature of Michael Dukakis riding around in a tank with that goofy helmet. Trying to prop yourself up with the military is, I guess, a time-honored tradition, but it sure doesn't sell.
Yeah, to do it in that so-called theatrical way is, I mean, it's a little off-putting to say the very least. Some people who respect the military would be just mad as hell about it, in point of fact, and you can put me in that column. Turning to Obama on the strategy, what in the world are we going to do? We've got a president who doesn't think the Islamic State is Islamic, and he won't even mention the Islamic State. He talks about ISIL, which almost no one uses as an acronym or a term for the Islamic State, which, by the way, they call themselves, as you know, the Islamic State. Is there any way in the world that you can imagine that this president is actually going to do something to protect American lives, assure national security, and destroy, as he once pledged to do, the Islamic State?
Well, you know, if you listen carefully to his press conference, he kept saying that he was going to attack the leadership of ISIS. And he didn't say very much at all about the 30,000 to 50,000 ground troops that they have,
right?
Or the fact that they occupy territory roughly the size of Indiana. Now, he says they've carved out some of that territory, so it may be down to the size of Kansas now, but it's still not anything to sneeze at.
Yeah, still sizable.
I think the advice he likely got in the Pentagon today, if he was listening, was that you can't win this battle simply with air power, and that's all he's talking about right now. I have yet to hear any kind of strategy about actually winning the fight against these thousands and thousands of recruits of ISIS, and they can replace these leaders. Right. It's not like we're getting rid of General Eisenhower or something and there's no one behind him. Right. These people have a lot of talent. They have a lot of battle experience now. And knocking out 8 or 9 leaders is not anything to be thumping your chest about, in my opinion.
Yeah, and they've gained great experience, unfortunately, in recruiting in the West, including in this country, obviously. Turning to the announcement, the 34 Arab countries now creating a coalition to fight the Islamic State, radical Islamist terrorism. They actually said the Islamic State, which is sort of impressive. Will it amount to much, and do you think many people are taking note it took 14 years after September 11th for them to form this coalition?
Yes, I arrived in Riyadh about a month after 9/11, and from that time on, spent a great deal of time trying to get the Saudis and others to join together to fight this kind of terrorist threat. As recently as about 3 or 4 years ago, when Chuck Hagel was the Secretary of Defense, he called a meeting in Jeddah trying to do the same thing. And so this is a movie we've seen before. My hope is that this time they feel sufficiently threatened and sufficiently motivated to at least have the bigger players play a significant role. The Saudis, the Emiratis, Jordanians, and the Egyptians especially need to play a role. The Saudis have also developed what they've called the Cairo Declaration with Egypt, in which they will join forces to provide a military force to protect their countries against external threat. This is a situation I think we do need to follow. We need to encourage it. My further guess, though, is they're not going to invest much capital and much in the way of personnel assets unless they see the United States leading. This is a point where we have an opportunity to lead. This is exactly the kind of Sunni ground force that we need to take charge of the neighborhood, but it can't be done without American leadership.
And, of course, this would not be the first such opportunity that the President has chosen not to seize.
Yeah.
Ambassador, as always, great to have you with us. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Lou.
Ambassador Robert Jordan.